Hey guys, another one take review, and today I want to talk about the new Rex Orange County album, Who Cares? Rex Orange County, of course, kind of made his big breakthrough in 2017 with the single Sunflower, as well as his appearance on Tyler the Creator's Flower Boy, which of course is a very beloved record, ranked very highly among the best hip hop albums of the decade, of the century so far, and a lot of people especially love Rex's part on that record. So since then, he's been an interesting figure as a man that started out as a sort of alternative pop darling to now being sort of shunned by his fans since 2019's Pony, which was his first album since his first toe dip into the mainstream, but he also has a very large mainstream pop following now. And I do think that Who Cares is sort of the album that meets in the middle between that newer mainstream audience and that older indie pop audience. Before I get into the aspects of this album that I enjoy, I first of all just want to say the fact that I think that Rex is a slightly grating vocalist. Just slightly. He's not horrible or anything like that, but I do think that there are times like the song 7 a.m., for example, that show Rex at his just worst self in terms of vocals. I just don't think they're strong vocally whatsoever. I actually think they're quite weak. And that's just a problem that's dated back as far as 2017's Apricot Princess. That's nothing particularly new with his music, and I don't really have a lot to say about it. I've heard worst vocal work of this year so far. We can thank Oliver Tree for that, of course. But I just wanted to mention it just because, I mean, Rex Orange County, his personality is a large portion of what makes his albums Rex Orange County albums, you know? So I just felt like I should mention that. And as a side note, since all I can really say is that I don't really care for his vocal styles, is that Tyler the Creator's appearance on Open a Window, short as it is, absolutely fantastic, and I actually kind of wish that Tyler appeared more randomly throughout this album. I end up liking Tyler's style more and more every time I hear it, and this is just another example of that. I think that he has an excellent verse on that song, even if it's incredibly brief. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say about that aspect of the record, really. I'm just not a fan of the vocal styles too much, but even still, if someone is, I absolutely respect and understand that, and Rex does deliver a lot of personality in this album. The lyricism found here is solid for what it is, too. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people complaining that the writing here is amateurish at best, but if you go into Who Cares not expecting something like a modern Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner, I think you'll find that there are some songs here that are, for the most part, just written perfectly as far as the genre itself goes, and that lyricism really captures both Rex's personality and lyrical delivery, as well as the instrumentals and just the overall atmosphere that's brought about by Who Cares and Rex's music in general. And again, this isn't Bob Dylan or anything like that, but why would you go into a Rex Orange County album expecting Bob Dylan? I think that's one of the biggest flaws with the reviewing community. I think that a lot of people go into stuff expecting the masters and new master just sort of unfolding before their eyes, and it's just someone who happens to be pretty good at writing a decent pop song, and that's what Rex is. He's pretty good at writing a decent pop song. Anyone else who's worked for him as a writer that I'm unaware of, they're also pretty darn good at writing a decent pop song. And again, it's no literary masterpieces here, but it's not like he sounds horrible in terms of songwriting. It's good stuff. That's the thing, though. Who Cares is an album that should just be approached as an album filled with just sort of fun, fluffy pop music for the most part. It shouldn't be analyzed too much beyond the basic performances. That's why I'm trying to avoid going into the like deep, the texturing of the album and stuff like that. The album is performed well, and it's a good time, and it's fun to listen to. I don't know why anyone would go into this expecting Godspeed You Black Emperor or something like that when it's Rex Orange County. You know what I mean? It's kind of ridiculous for some people to bash something for not being experimental. In fact, I think that Rex Orange County has some of his best songs here, like One in a Million and Shoot Me Down, because of the fact that it sort of embraces the side of Rex that likes to go for a more endearingly melodic side rather than unwarranted, unwanted, unrequired, everything experimentalism. And I think it works out for the better in the end, because Who Cares? It's not a masterpiece by any means, but I don't think anyone was expecting it to be, and it's a fun listen because of that. Not only is it a fun listen, but Who Cares is also probably the most Rex Orange County album that we've heard since Apricot Princess. I mean, this is just him as a musician on a silver platter. And I mean, if you hate it, you'll hate everything else he's done. If you like it or love it, you'll like or love everything else he's done. That's just the way that it works. It's not like he's this ever changing musician or anything like that. Obviously, he changes styles and things like that, but I don't think that you should really go into this expecting any sort of masterful art challenging piece or anything like that. It's Rex Orange County, and for what Rex Orange County does, he does it well. With that being said, I also wanted to mention that this album is produced extremely well. I mean, Who Cares as an album and Rex Orange County's performances are basically as far as or as close as you can get to non-orchestral antithesis of garage music. I mean, this is just so incredibly polished and trimmed around the edges and just completely smooth, but I think it works out for the better in the end, and I do think that it actually works towards his strengths as a pop artist, especially with some of the more soul influenced tracks on here, like the aforementioned Shoot Me Down. And overall, I do think it makes the album at least slightly more charming than it would be otherwise in a less produced, more underproduced setting. Overall, Who Cares isn't breaking musical boundaries. It certainly isn't setting the standards for indie pop music, but it's making something infectiously cool, or at least trying to make something infectiously cool and laid back and chill and at least mildly moving. And in my opinion, with the lack of experimentation, it's doing a pretty damn good job at it. I don't think you can really fault Rex Orange County or Who Cares as an album for just being it. So yeah, with that being said, I'm gonna give this album 3.5 stars out of 5. It's a good record. It's not, again, not a masterpiece, but it is itself. It is Rex Orange County himself doing music that accurately portrays himself as a musician, and I think it's just an enjoyable record that is easy to appreciate as long as you don't go into it expecting some 20-minute long epic or anything like that. So yeah, 3.5 stars out of 5. Good record. And with that being said, that is the end of this review, and I'll see you guys in the next one.